Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, good evening or morning, depending on your time zone. From the Pacific to the Atlantic to worldwide, this is Gary on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. Well, tonight, go get yourself a nice cup of hot java, maybe some hot cocoa. Find a nice, easy chair that you can curl up on, because tonight we got a great guest, Rev.Shawn Whittington. We're going to be talking, well, things about the paranormal, ghosts, and all kinds of things. So get ready for a real ride tonight on Night Dreams Talk Radio.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Well, everybody, I hope you're having a great week. A few more days before we end up to the weekend, but I tell you, some bad things have been happening. Look what happened here in France. A lot of history just went up in flames. It's so discouraging. And then, Earth changes. They keep saying, you got two types of groups of people. One that says, it's not going to happen. It's fine. Then you got the other people like Antarctica. It's breaking up. It's melting. And, they talk about what's going to happen if more of this ice, melts. All kinds of maybe diseases and bacteria and all this stuff can maybe get into the air and then be transported here where we're at, let alone the radiation that the whole Antarctica has been capturing. Anyway, tonight we got a great guest. We got Rev.Shawn Whittington. How you doing, my friend?
Gary, I'm doing wonderful, brother, and thank you so much for inviting me to visit with you this evening. It's a pleasure. And I know now I can retire because it's never going to get any better for me than being on with you tonight.
Oh, come on. Hey, I'm just a Joe just like you doing a show.
Well, I mean that, though, from the heart, though. I've been looking forward to this all week long. You ask me anything you want, and it doesn't matter. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm an open book, and I'm all yours, brother.
Well, I got to first ask you a question. Why don't you tell the listenership a little bit about you and about your book you wrote and what actually got you into the paranormal?
Well, it definitely wasn't my choice. My answer is simple, but it's not going to come across as being simple. I was created and born to be on the path that I'm on right now, and I 110% over the top, thoroughly in my heart and soul believe that. But due to extreme divine intervention is how my birth came about, and the rest is history. I saw ghosts when I was very young, and it, to be honest, freaked me out. I confided in my mother, and it wasn't until many, many years later that I realized she was very gifted, as my older sisters were, and I suspect my younger brother is too, but he's in a bit denial. He's a little freaked out about the whole thing, so he can be at times in quite a bit denial when it comes to that. But she just told me that I was going to see a lot of spirits in my life. How she knew that, I know now how she knew that, but then I didn't know. She said I would see a lot of spirits in my life and not to be afraid of them, that they were just people like us that just didn't have a body any longer. And if they show themselves to me, there's a reason why. And they either have a message to give to me, or they are looking for some help from me and think that I can help. How we appear to spirits, the people that are gifted, how we appear to them, I'm not sure yet. We'll all find out these answers one day, but we must look different to them, and that's why they magnet to us. They gravitate towards us. But I saw a lot of them. My mom said, ask them if there's, what you can do to help, what the message is. If you can help them, great. If you can't, be honest with them. Tell them that you can't help them.
Oh, okay.
But ask them to please not bother you any longer and to move on. And so I started practicing that. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes it didn't work. But as it was yesterday, I clearly remember even when I was very young and just going to school, like preschool and maybe not too much longer after that, in the afternoons after school taking a nap with my mom, and that's when I would always mostly see them. So I remember her saying, just grab a handful of my hair, and I'm going to grab onto your leg real tight, and don't worry about anybody taking you away from me while we're napping. And so that went on for a while. But as I grew older, I remember working my first case when I was 10 years old in a haunted home that my older sisters lived in that they were renting while they were in college. And the rest is history, and I've been working paranormal cases since a very young age.
Oh, wow.
I am no youngster. I'm going to turn 60 this coming November, and I didn't really get on the path to become an ordained minister until about 5-6 years ago. So it is what it is. I do have a new book out. Oh my gosh, I could write a book on just what it took to put that book out. That story that was an effort, and I'm so glad to have it finally behind me. And I hope it does well, as all authors do. And I almost even hate calling myself the author, because I clearly got a message from Spirit to tell my story, and I felt their presence through the whole process of putting the book together. And the energy and atmosphere here in my home, and I do live in a haunted house also, changed so dramatically once the book was finished that I knew that I had made a lot of people on the other side happy with the fact that I had finished it. And so I'm hoping that, I know that there's some messages in there. What those messages are and who those messages are meant for, I'm not sure. It might be somebody that's listening to us tonight. But if the book just gets to those people and gives them the messages that they need, I'm happy. I don't need to be the next Stephen King That's never going to happen, and my book's never going to be on the New York Times bestseller list. But this Wednesday, I celebrate 1 month since it's been released. It came out on St. Patrick's Day. And the feedback I'm getting from people who have purchased it, just not even from people that are into the paranormal, just regular people that have somehow stumbled upon the book and purchased it, saw that it looked interesting, and they gave it a shot. I've received such positive feedback. It's extremely humbling, very humbling.
Well, Shawn, what is the name of the book?
It is it is God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. It's a supernatural and spiritual autobiography by yours truly, Rev.Shawn Patrick Whittington. And everything's right there in that title. I am a baptized Catholic, but I am ordained. I'm an ordained exorcism deliverance minister, advanced practice through a Christian university, and I belong to an association of exorcists and a society of exorcists. And that's what I do now, and that seems to be the only cases that come across my desk now. So it was meant to be, but I didn't run into my first severe demonic case till after I fell in love with my wife, and we got married almost 17 years ago. It wasn't until we formed GhostBeGone.biz, and she's my paranormal partner in crime. She's also a near-death experience survivor, a Stephen minister through the Lutheran faith, and a sensitive intuitive herself. So I couldn't do it without her. Feels really uncomfortable when I go to work cases by myself. So I need her also, and we make a great team. And I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do this. She's 17 years older than me and has twice my energy. Still works a full-time job. I work a part-time job in addition to my teaching paranormal studies at a Bible college and working paranormal cases and among other things. But we'll do it as long as we can do it.
Oh, wow. Boy, she has a lot of energy to,
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And she's a 3-time cancer survivor.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know how she does it.
Maybe it's the faith that has it. It's just like me, with my issue I told you about. A lot of people probably gave up and just sat in a chair. I watched my grandfather passed away. I watched my mom passed away. As soon as they heard the big C word, they kind of gave up. My thing is, I still ride a Harley. I plan to even get on it here in the next few weeks if I can get my leg working again. And I think that keeps me focused, plus doing a show like this. So it keeps my mind going. I don't have to sit back and worry about my health. I very seldom even think about it, except if I can't get out of bed once in a while. But other than that, I just take each day as it comes. And, that's what you have to do. And I say to your wife, I'm very proud of her.
Thank you, brother. I know you mean that. And I will definitely, her and my circus bears, they're my mastiffs, they're all taking a nap at the other end of the house, and I'm locked in behind closed doors in the office here so I could be left alone and quiet while I'm visiting with you. But I will tell her this evening what you said, and it'll make her feel very good. But yeah, I don't know how she does it. She's got twice my energy, and she's got no plans on slowing down anytime soon. And God bless her,
Well, I hate to say it, a lot of people, when they retire, they get like 65, 66. I watched my grandfather, when I was a kid, he worked building gas stations, doing the sheet metal for gas stations. Mm-hmm. And then they would then assemble them at the locations. And as soon as he retired, he sat in his recliner every day, except to go out and have coffee every day. Then he would come back and he'd read about World War II. That was his whole life. And, a few years later, he died. And it's because he, gave up pretty much. He didn't have anything for exercise, anything to keep him really motivated.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. So you learned, that was a lesson that you learned, and you didn't even know you were learning that lesson. And now you're applying that to how you're approaching your situation, and it's working for you. And